Hello everyone, I'm Victoria Brown. I'm an artist and I'm doing a live stream from my studio today. I deliver a lot of art workshops for Artcore in Derby, and they've kindly asked me to lead these sessions from my studio during lockdown, hopefully to give you a little bit of peace, calm and a way to be creative at home and enjoy the resources you've got around you, and also to share my collection of things that I get inspired from and the things that make me feel uplifted and creative. So today I'll be doing some painting with you and showing you some very simple painting techniques to do with water, the subject of water, and I'll show you some of my sketchbooks, my paintings, and we'll get started very soon. You don't need specialist materials or anything, just hopefully you've got a pencil and maybe some paper at hand. If you have got some paints, that will just be great. Last week we were focusing on blossom, and it was just fantastic to be able to share my paintings with you and my passion for blossoms this time of year in just 1 week. It's incredible how they've all started to flourish even more. So this week I've been continuing painting blossom, but I decided that I would share my passion about water with you. So I got all my paintings out, my water paintings, and it's actually made my studio feel a lot calmer, and it's been a beautiful space this week. I've even managed to try some of the live stream videos on yoga, which have been wonderful. So trying to get my exercise in, daily exercise in too. So I hope you are as well. So water is something that I feel incredibly calming and relaxing, and I've been inspired by different artists. A friend gave me this book called The Secret Life of Water by Dr. Emoto, and it talks about the healing qualities of water and how it makes us feel calm, refreshed, alive. If you think about water in different cultures, different ceremonies use water as part of that as well, to cleanse and to heal. And in this present climate, you know, the one key bit of advice we're being given is to wash our hands with soap and water. So most of our body is made up of water, and we need it to sustain our life. So it's a crucial part of who we are in our life. So I often like to go for walks and along streams or rivers or lakes, take some photos, have sketches, get inspiration. This morning I went out into my garden and took some photographs of the pond. There's quite a lot of interesting reflections from the clouds and the trees. I didn't think there would be a lot going on there at the moment, but once you start looking closely at the water, the ripples, the changes of the light, the sparkles, it's amazing what you can see and what you can create from it. I've uploaded some photographs to my Facebook page, Victoria Brown Artist, so if you'd like to have a look at those, you can use them later for your own source of inspiration. I also take inspiration when I'm on holiday. I've got my sketchbook with me here, and I had a look through it, and looking back at the holiday last year, I did some sketches. I don't know whether you can see that, but we went to near Sorrento, and our hotel was just on the coast by the water. So I took some sketches. I didn't move very far from my balcony or by the pool, but we had a fantastic view of the island of Capri. That's Capri at night time across the water, and just looking at my sketches and my photos just makes me happy. It brings back that really relaxing, calm feeling that I had when I was lying and resting on holiday. It had a beautiful little grotto. You could walk down some steps to the rocks, and you could swim in the water by the sea. And I got some we did a trip over across the ferry to Capri, and I used a lot of the tickets to make a collage to remember that day, and the map of Sorrento as well. So you can be playful in your sketchbooks. I've got some, I just used blue ink on this one and tried to work on the reflections in the water. Just really simple sketches, and these are quite useful to actually use for later on. I can come back and refer to these. Look, I've also saved a pocket of tickets in there too. So I also took lots of photographs which I can refer to. So maybe if you've got some holiday photographs of the sea, of water, just dig through your photo albums and see if there's any there you can use as a resource today for your water painting. There's a lovely sunset there. I know a lot of the participants at Artcore, you did some fabulous oil paintings of seascapes a couple of months ago, and we used some of those paintings, so you might recognise them. So if you haven't got any photos, have a look in any magazines you might have. There's a lovely picture of a grotto there, like different sea scenes. There's a beautiful wave I could get inspiration from, and I also cut out words to describe water as well to add to paintings. So we've got ripples, flowing rivers, pools, we've got depth, reflections, wave, energy, bubbles, lots of words to create the feeling of water and conjure up those memories. And even if you haven't got lakes or rivers nearby, just simply having a shower or a bath, or even doing the washing up and looking at the reflections in the water, and see the playful movement of the light on the water surface, that's a really fantastic source of inspiration. Now I thought we'd do like a little sort of sketch first. I've had a little play here. This is actually a bit of a cardboard box, and I've cut them up into lots and lots of pieces. So I've just got lots of experimental shapes and pieces there where you could do your own mini seascapes. So once you've worked through these, you could have a whole collection of them yourself. So all you need to do is just get a piece of card or even paper, cut it to the size you want. I've got some acrylic paints here. I've got some graduate acrylics, but you don't have to use acrylics. You can use any poster paint you've got, or any watercolours, children's paints you've got, whatever you can find, or even just start sketching with crayons. But we'll just pop a little bit of the dark blue on the surface there, and with this you don't even really need to use your use a paintbrush at all. We'll have a go at actually using fingers with this one and see what happens. If you've got children at home, this is a great one to have a go with the children. Just make sure you keep them supervised if you're using acrylic paints, because it doesn't actually wash out of things. But just start being playful with the paint and just see what happens. Just blending the white with the blues. I know water doesn't always look blue, but today I just kind of really need to get the feeling of blue, deep blue water that I could dream about swimming in. So just being really playful with it. You can move it around, you could make waves, you could make ripples and things. So just play about with the paint and blend it. And adding white to the paint, to the colour, is, you call it creating different tones. So you're just trying to create different tones of blue. I could try and put some more white in the foreground to actually try and get some lighter sparkles in the foreground, or maybe even waves they could be, couldn't they, crashing onto a shore. just be playful and just do one after the other. So you experiment, you're discovering ways of creating water yourself, because there's no right or wrong way of doing it. You can just find your own way. So just start by making your own mini masterpiece. I just have to wipe my hands. Make your own little mini masterpiece. Have a go with the paint. If you've got some brushes, that's great. I've got a whole selection of brushes here that I can use. There's blending brushes, there's finer brushes for finer detail, and we've even got some palette knives which you can scrape the paint and create movement in it. So if I take this one, you can use it with thick paint. You can scrape shapes, maybe some crashing waves like that. You can actually scrape into the paint and make different textures and patterns. So that's one thing that you could explore. Okay. So I just thought I'd show you some of my paintings that I've got in the studio. So we'll just show you, if I can move you around, some paintings that I've actually got out today. I'll show you this one first. This is one of my water boxes. I experimented sort of working with water in 3D. It's an area of exploration I started actually in my degree, my final degree. I had a few of these, and this is what I continued later on. And I've done acrylic painting and on the bottom layer and collage, and then I've used plastic, or textiles. This layer here is all cut out with a Stanley knife, and to create the movement of water over the stones beneath. I've called this one Travelling Stone. The idea is that the power of the water is moving the stone along the riverbed. So I really enjoyed these. And if you've got children at home, I don't know if I remember many years ago when I was little, we used to make boxes, sort of seaside boxes, and work on the different layers of the sea with the sand beneath and the shells, and then the fish, and then the water surface. So maybe this sort of idea came from my childhood, but that's something maybe you could do with children at home. So I've done a few of these. There's another one down here in a different colour. And then there's one over here as well in the corner. So playing with different shades and tones of blue as well. This one here is from a holiday in Crete. I'd noticed a beautiful flower that was floating on the water's surface. And when I was swimming in the water, I was mesmerised by the patterns and the reflections from the tiles at the side of the pool. And I took photographs and worked with that when I got back home to try and create that feeling again. So when I pulled this out the other day, I'd not seen it for a long time, and it brought back those really relaxing, calm memories that I had. So this is another one. This is my Travelling Stone, another one that I did with acrylic paints on canvas. And I'll show you in a few minutes how I sort of blended the whites and the blues to sort of create this effect with the movement and flow of the water. I've also outside, I'll show you where I've been taking photographs this morning in the pond. It's usually beautiful in the summer. There's some lotus flowers in the pond. I went down to take photographs this morning for my Facebook page, and there's actually a moorhen and two little moorhen chicks in the pond. We had seen this moorhen going crazy over the weekend, running around the garden, and realised that it was actually chasing off the pheasants because it was fearful they would take their chicks. There's 3 more paintings here I did in Cornwall. I absolutely love going to Cornwall. It's one of my favourite places. and went there for many years in the family home. One of my favourite things is going surfing and going bodyboarding, and I've got my bodyboard tucked away in the corner of the studio. This lake here that I've painted is at Treba Gardens in Cornwall. It's a National Trust garden, and they're tropical gardens, and the gardens sort of meander all the way down to a lake, and then beyond the lake is the Halford River and a beach just next to it. So it conjures up lots and lots of memories of such wonderful holidays. So this was a sculpture next to the lake, the seahorse sculpture, when we went there. I took lots of photographs and did lots of sketches. Here's another one of the hydrangeas. If you think of hydrangeas, when the heads have died off, they go very sort of pale pastel pinky colour, and that's the time of year that we went. And there's another one with a few fish sort of swimming in the pond around there. So that's a whole collection that I've got. I've exhibited these at the Royal Derby Hospital along the corridors there as part of the Arts and Health exhibition, because they make me feel so calm and relaxed. So I thought we'd have a go at actually painting one of my my travelling stone paintings. So if we get 3 colours, so if we get a little bit of yellow, some of my blue and some of my white, I'm going to do it on a large piece of card that I've actually put on my table ready, just to try and get you the idea. So I'm going to put a blob of this all over. So you can actually get a piece of card at home. I'll show you in a second if I can move the camera. Right. Sorry about that, I think I lost you. So I've put some card on my table and I've put blobs of paint around it. So now I'm going to start painting the patterns in it. So I'm going to imagine that I've got a bit of a swirl going on in this bit here. So you can just blend the colours. I've got lots of water in a dish here. So just keep swirling the water and trying to create patterns in the water. Keep adding water as well, just spread it out with the water. Don't be afraid of mixing the paint and trying to blend the colours. Oh dear, I've just dropped something on the floor. That wasn't very clever. So just keep working it. And you can also use sponges. I've got a nice big sponge here. So we use some sponging techniques. Now if you look on the Artcore Creative Living website, you can see how a group of participants did a whole long picture like this using on a wallpaper lining paper. So if you've got any old rolls of wallpaper at home, you could lay it out across the floor or across the table, and you can get painting and just blending. So different brushes create different effects. We've got some little natural sponges here, and those create different effects. So where you want the light, you can add more white. So keep building up. I've also got some, if you look around your kitchen, see if there's any brushes that you can use from the kitchen sink. We've got a washing up brush there, we've got a nail brush, I've got a scrubbing brush, and these can all create different techniques. A piece of rag, and there's a little bit of a scouring sponge that's been cut up, and that can create effects too. So if I maybe, let's put lots more paint on there, shall we? So let's get good coverage. So I'll put plenty of paint on there and a little bit more there. We'll have a little bit of yellow as well, because that'll create some greeny tones in the water. A little bit of yellow maybe on that side there. Okay, so if I'm going to use this sponge first of all, so if I sponge that around, try and get into that playful childlike spirit again. Try and let yourself relax and just enjoy it and see what happens, because you might actually surprise yourself what sort of techniques you can get. So we've got the little scrubbing brush as well. So shall I use the scrubbing brush? See what sort of effects we can get over there. Maybe swirl it round, see what might happen. That's it. And then you can always go over with your paintbrush afterwards. Now maybe some printing. I've cut out a piece of bubble wrap here. So bubble wrap covered with the paint, you can print onto the surface as well. I'll just rub it in this little pool of white paint there and just see what kind of effect we can get. So if I print that down there, you can see you can get quite a nice effect there. So if you covered that with white paint, it might actually create some nice effects, sort of bubble effects over the water. See? So if I put some white paint onto this, and if I put some down here, and I can spread it out with my brush. There's decorators brushes as well. Just spread it out here. Don't worry what it's going to look like. You're just being playful and just trying to find new techniques. So we've got some white on there, and we'll print it on top of the blue. See what happens. So we've got a lovely effect there. Also, I've cut out a stencil. Maybe you could actually experiment with cutting out stencils. If you lay the stencil over a darker colour, get a sponge, put some white paint onto the sponge. I don't know whether this is very easy to do one-handed, but you'll get the idea. So just press that down and hopefully we'll get a nice effect. So lift it up and there you go. So you can get sort of the movement and the flow and the ripples across the water with these stencils. So I just used a little Stanley knife, little paper knife with that to cut it out, but you could always do it with scissors if you wanted to, just on a piece of thin card. We've got combs. There's a comb there, so have a go with creating lines in your paint like this. You can do crisscrossing, things like that. Just experiment with different techniques. With your brush, you can do some stippling techniques, or you can actually do some blending with just your finger. So I'm going to work with a brush again now, if I can find my other brush. And here we go, here's my larger brush. That's something we always do, is end up putting our brush in the coffee cup. It's one of our regular things that happen in our workshops by mistake. You get so engrossed in the painting that it's very easy to do. So just keep working at it and think about the water, get it to flow. Get some more of that down there. The card actually is surprising how easy it is to work with. Just show you don't have to have expensive canvases and things. You can actually use things that are just around you at home. A little bit there. You could do with a little bit of yellow in this bit too. So just enjoy experimenting. Just try and release any fear of it doing the right thing or the wrong thing. Just enjoy blending the colours and experimenting. Okay. Now, when I was doing this with the Creative Living group in Sinfin, we were looking at Monet and Monet's work, his beautiful water lily paintings that he did. I think he was in his 80s when he did the water lily paintings, and he painted the pond at Gaverny in his garden in Gaverny in France. I've actually got some photographs of that which I can show you. I've got quite a nice book of that. So these are Monet's watercolour paintings that he did, which we can take inspiration from. His colours became more muted and calmer as he got older, and you can see the reflections and the shapes in there. I'd love to see those in real life, so you might have Google on the internet and just see if you can have a look at Monet's techniques. There's a beautiful sunset over the River Thames there. He painted London and Venice as well. He really enjoyed doing those. So keep on going with your painting. I had a go at one of these earlier, and oh dear, and it sort of ended up like this. So you too can have a go at doing it large scale. Yeah, get the watercolour paper and things, see what you can find. You can see I've worked with the bubble print there and the swirl and things. Have a go. Maybe look at some photos first. So I'm just going to clear this away, because we were just looking at the techniques there and experimenting. Okay. So if I just lift that up, get rid of that, and then we'll have a look at something else. Okay. So let's have a look. There you are again. I'll move my blossoms. Oh. There we go. Can you see me? Oh. I don't know whether you can still see me. I'm hoping you can. Oh, it's telling me to rotate my device. So I hope you can see me now. Sorry, I think I've got technical so sorry about that. I had technical difficulties, but hopefully you caught the first part of this video where we were looking at painting water. We're looking at my paintings, my travelling stone paintings and my Trooper Gardens paintings, and you could see me actually experimenting with the techniques with different brushes and things and sponges from home. I hope you managed to get some of that, but if you didn't, hopefully we'll get it up online later. Now I just wanted to show you my collections of stones and things. Whenever I go away, I either buy myself stones or I treat myself to I find stones on the beach, so I've got a whole collection of these. I don't know whether it's something you love doing, is painting stones and collecting them as well. I've got a collection of the stones and the things we actually found when we were in Italy. I usually collect this beach glass, which we walk on the beach and have a look for small pieces of glass and collect those, and I make pictures and things with them. And I also found in Italy these lovely little tiles that have worn down with the sea and create wonderful, interesting shapes with some nice colours on them. So really interesting, and I brought these back home with me and created a picture in a little box with the sea glass and the tiles. So that's something you can maybe do today. I used a glue gun for these, but if you use strong PVA glue, then you would be able to use that as well. So have a go with the things you've collected. There's another one there using the actual sea glass and the tiles. I wasn't aware that there's a whole community of people that collect these sea tiles and create art with them, and also there's a lot of people that collect sea glass as well. So have a go with that. So today, to try and be calm and to get composed, especially when the live stream keeps going wrong, get your stones together. Maybe you could get a lid or a carton or something. Do this with your children if you want, and get some water and pour the water onto your stones, and it's very calming and very peaceful. So once you've got your stones, you can have a look into the stones and the water over the top, and I'll show you from up here what it looks like. So you can see how beautiful that is, maybe with a blossom floating on the top. So if you've got children in the house, you could maybe create one of these with them. And I've done these with nursery children all the way up to adults that are 90 plus. And the children's ones, I did a frogs pool and got little toy frogs and collected sticks and natural materials and things. And you can create a pool for the children to look at, play with, and paint and draw. If you're working with young children, remember to always supervise children when they're playing with water, and to make sure you don't let small children get the stones in their mouths. But otherwise, it's a really lovely activity to do together. So have a look at that. Maybe if you're lucky enough to have a garden, go and collect some stones, give them a wash and gather them together. Then you can come back and get together and get some pencils and start drawing the stones on, I've got, these are quite nice, these are just canvas boards. They're quite handy, particularly to do the demonstrations. But if you haven't got a canvas board, then you can use a piece of cardboard like we did earlier, or you could use some paper, or anything you've got around really, or a sketchbook. So first of all, I know some people on my workshops, they like to actually put the stones onto the picture and draw around them. So if you're not super confident with drawing, that is something you can do. So you could just draw around the shape like this, like that. Or it's always really good to actually start looking and sketching and drawing and training your eye to actually look at something carefully and draw it. So I'll have a go at drawing this one freehand. So if you look carefully, this is actually a heart shape, sort of a heart-shaped stone, and I often love to try and collect heart-shaped stones on the beach. So there you go. So you've got a shape like that. So gradually choose your stones. Got some little ones here, and try and draw them. So you're creating a composition on your canvas like that, just of stones. It's really simple to do. I've done another collection of paintings called Hidden Gems, and these are the ones I've created just using an egg-shaped stone that I found in Scotland. And with the egg-shaped stone, I've drawn it in the centre like I've just shown you, and then I've painted it, and then I've used gold paint and gold leaf to finish the pattern off on the over the actual stone. You can see a few sequins as well. It was a time when I really enjoyed adding sequins to my work and capturing the light in different ways. There's also this one here. I was looking at the rain circles. If you've stood by water and stood by a pond, you can just see the rain circles as the rain drops onto the water's surface. You can see the circles emanate from the centre outwards, and watching that I find is really calming and relaxing. So that's maybe something you could look at in a puddle, or just recreate that in your pool within your house. Just drop a little bit of water onto your pool that you've created to see if you can get those rings and things. The gold there I use gold leaf. This is my gold box here. It's I think it's 22.5 carat gold. So these are the leaf sheets that you actually paint on glue onto the surface of the painting, and then it's like a transfer. Once the glue's slightly tacky, then you can actually press this down into a shape onto the canvas, lift it up, and then you've got the gold shape left behind. So it's really worth getting some of this if you want to experiment. You can just get gold leaf metal that's not actually gold, which is a lot cheaper. So if you're going to just experiment first, you might be able to order some of that online. It's quite nice to be able to get that ethereal quality of painting with gold. So if I return back to this picture, so we're going to be building up the stones. If I get some more collection of stones. So you can actually do this with crayons, whatever you want really. Just imagine a river, and I quite like the way lots of stones all fit together. So try something like that. Cover your page with all your stone studies that you've looked at. And then the next thing is to get some paint. So get some paint. We'll get a little bit of red this time. So we'll get some red. We'll do some colour mixing, a little bit of yellow and a little bit of white, and we'll get a little bit of green maybe, because a little bit of moss growing on the stones. So we can mix all those colours together. I get a nice round end of brush, maybe this one would be quite nice. So I can mix the colours. If I get some water, any old water pot will do. So I've put them onto a palette. I mean, you can make your own palettes, you can just use bits of card. It doesn't really matter what you use to mix your paints on. So I've got quite a nice purple tone there. I could start off with stones. You don't have to paint the colours that you see. You can actually build up your own colours if you want to. So if I really do some purpley colour stones, shall we? That would be quite nice. So if you just mix your colour, and there's your drawing. So you can just gradually build up your stone shape. Now first of all, just don't worry about it being too perfect. Just get the general shape. So I've got the general shape there. Now with stones, to make them look more 3D, if you put a darker colour around the outside in some places and blend it, that can make it stand out. Okay, and then you can put some lighter colour in the centre, put a little bit of white on there in the centre to make it look 3D. So just I use my finger a lot for blending as well, so just sort of blend with your finger, and that makes it look more stone-like, like that. Okay, so we can maybe have another stone. We'll just probably have one here. Doesn't matter if you get like, I've got a little bit of green in that one, and you can see it's just catching it, making it look 3D. Gradually build up. This is like the bottom of your pool or the bottom of your riverbed. All the little stones scattered on the bottom. Just try and look at subtle differences, like little markings and like holes and dents in the stone. Put a little bit of green on that one. Put a bit of green on that one, just to give it a little bit of shading, make it look 3D. So painting can take, sometimes you can do a painting really quickly, but most often, I mean, I find it's just a gradual build up of all your colours. Probably have a green one here. A little bit of purple on that one, make it look a bit darker. Side. It's building up now. A couple of up there. That's it. We have another purple one down here. And another one. And another one there. So you've got your pool. These look like crystal stones actually, some of them that I've got in that in the bowl. So that's your basic background. I mean, if you've got some little tiny stones as well that go in between, you can put those in. I'll put a little bit of black on my palette to get a little bit more shading in there. So I can add a little bit more dark to them if in places if I want to make them stand out even more. And maybe that one there. Blend it. There. So. Sometimes if you get paint on your finger, it's just blend a little bit, do a bit of shading with your finger, like that. So we can put some more stones in between, some darker stones to fit in between those other stones. So just gradually build it up. It is actually quite meditative, so just lose yourself in it. Spend quite a bit of time on it. Adding to your stones. There we go. So now we're ready to start painting the water over the top. So if you get another little palette, put some white on there. I'll maybe put a little bit of blue on there as well. I would actually, usually I'll be doing the gilding with this to try and get the gilding technique, but it's not going to be that easy to demonstrate on the camera. Oh yes, somebody's asked me, was my work up at East Midlands Airport at one point? Yes, that's right, I did. It was quite a few years ago now. I had my work up in the Departure Lounge as part of their Departures exhibition, so it might be familiar to you. Oh, glad you remember that. So now, if I get some blue, if I can find a little bit of blue there, I'll mix it with the white. I've exhibited in all around the East Midlands, so let me know if anybody else is seeing my paintings out and about anywhere. So then when I'm just blending a nice sort of bluey tone there with the white. So when you've got your stones, then you can think about where the flow of the water is going to be, which direction that's going to be in. I think I'm going to try and do a nice spiral in the middle of this one, over the top of the stones. Here goes. I'll probably actually use a finer brush because that's probably too thick. Let's try that one there. So we'll just start with a nice spiral. This is going to be far too blue, but never mind. So think about the movement of the water as if it's a river flowing or a stream. Just a gentle little pull, and then you can lighten it up a little bit. With the white. So think about where the water will flow. We'll have a look closely at your pool where the water's going. So just gently build that up. I think we'll have a circular movement over here. The water can flow around there. So just keep building that up. Different, a little bit of darker paint there, so you can see it a bit more clearly. There you go, probably put a little bit too much black on there. Can you see that? Just gradually build it up. A bit more white, I think, will come out with some more white to make it look transparent. Just keep working at that. So have a go with that sort of technique. This would take me, I'd probably spend another hour or so on this, but you've got the idea of what you could do, and just start with those stone shapes and building up layer upon layer. I'd probably work in these areas, add some more stones, add some darker tones, just gradually building up. And have a look on the Creative Living website, Artcore's Creative Living website, because there's some really good examples of group paintings that they've done of water and stones. So have a go with that. And this is the last session before the Easter holidays. We're going to have an Easter break next week, and then I'll be back the following week on Monday doing another live stream. If you get a chance to work on this project with water, I'd love to see your paintings. I've got one here that I've been working on this week that I'm hoping to finish by next week. I use the theme of water. It's part of my Celebrating Earth series, so it's one I've been working on this week. I've chosen one of the stones here, which is a Dalmatian stone. It's an egg-shaped stone shape that I've got here somewhere. It's one of these egg-shaped stones here. So yeah, you can see that I've still got a lot more work to do on that. So these are all like projects that take time, and it will give you time, a project to work on during these difficult times, and hopefully give you some calm and peace. And help you to relax and reduce anxiety. So I'm going to work on this more this week. I'll show it you when I come back in 2 weeks' time to show you what I've done to it. So I hope you enjoy painting water and enjoy doing it at home with you on your own, or if you've got children with you, have a go at some of the techniques, and please post your pictures to Artcore. We'd love to see them, and hope you enjoy. Okay, see you in 2 weeks' time. Thank you for watching. Bye bye.